to Art Party with Raney, and today we're going to do a still life that's a takeoff from the still life from the basic shapes that we studied the last time, our last episode. So I have with us an illustrious group of students. I have Helga, I have Frenchie, and Vicki. Welcome. Today we're going to do a still life that's going to be just as easy. All you have to do is follow me. If you have any questions, please ask, and I'll guide you as best I can. So are you ready to paint? Yay! All right. So this is the still life we're painting here. So refer to this if you're having trouble with what I'm doing, just so you'll know where the lines go. Are you ready? Okay. Art parties, by the way, are sweeping the whole world, and they're wonderful things where people come and they bring a libation of some kind, have a snack, and paint and have fun. And that's what painting is all about. It's having fun and enjoying yourself and expressing your creativity in any way that you can. And you'll see this at the end of the show. We have 3 students, and I am a student as well, and there'll be four different renditions of this same still life. So, okay, this is the palette. Basically, I see that you've got your paint spread out in many different ways, and that's perfectly fine. We just need a little room to mix. So if you need to get another palette sheet, that's fine. You can use one for your paint and then one to mix. I have got it squirted out here about the way I receive the paint colors. This is not my normal way that I put paint out, but at this point it really doesn't matter. What we're trying to do is just have fun. The whole idea about the painting party is that it is about fun, and there is no right or wrong, and it's just expressing yourself and not being afraid to put the brush to the canvas. So get that burnt umber color with your round bristle to be about the consistency of a heavy cream, because you want it to kind of flow. Now this is going to be our outline. We're just going to go right into the piece with our brush and just follow my lead. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to do this little shape right about here. Just do a little round circle. This is where basically your golden section is going to be. So look that up when you get a chance. The golden section is very important. Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, the golden section, the Fibonacci principle, the rule, all of these things mean that there's got to be a point on your piece that is the center of attention that really draws the eye. So everybody got the little circle? And I'm just going to keep moving this along, so don't worry. You'll catch up or not. It's okay. Now I've got the first little circle, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the bowl. It's a hemisphere shape. If you remember from the last episode, we had the shape, the basic shapes, and in this lesson, we're going to do a still life. We are doing a still life using those basic shapes. So I've just drawn in the hemisphere. Now I've got my square or cube. I'm holding the very tip of my brush, and your movement needs to come from your whole arm, your whole elbow. You don't want to be doing this a lot because then it gets kind of squirrely. Your lines get kind of squirrely. But you can go back and you can correct that however you like. Now I'm going to reach in and get some more water. We have some acrylic retarder here that we're also working with to keep slow down the process, the drying process. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to get the bottom of this cone shape, which is the shape I have to represent the cone is indeed a cone. And we're going to pull it up to about right here. Just pull down that line. When you do the other line, just sort of keep it at the same angle as your first line. It's very easy, no problem. Just make the marks that I make. If I make a wrong mark, then you will too, sorry. Now the shape of the cup is kind of it's sort of a cylinder, but it's got a kind of bowls out a little bit. Also, then you've got a little lip. Do kind of want to make it look like it's sitting on there. Then we have any lips we're going to paint, like so. Then we have a lovely little handle. And so now we're going to move on to the cloth in the back. So we're going to kind of drape this down here because all still lifes have to have a cloth in the back. All right, we're going to go and we're going to start using local color. Local color is the color of the object that you're painting. Let's start doing the big cone first. Just go over what you just painted. Make any adjustments you want to make. Don't worry about it. If you're worried about whether your line is really straight or not, just think of a Cézanne painting. Cézanne distorted everything. Tabletops, any object, he would distort it and make it his own. So don't worry about it. It's okay. And it gives us something really fun to laugh at the end of the class. I don't hear you laughing now. Y'all don't think that's too funny, do you?
No.
Oh, relax. It's great.
It's a work in progress.
You are concentrating. I love this. This is like class. Okay, put the local color, we're using red, on the cone. Now I'm going to take my yellow and I'm just going to cover the hemisphere. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go to the box next. Now the box is also red, but because it's also red, I want to make it a little more of a bluish red. This is going to be a little bit more of an orange red, a warm red, and I want this to be a little bit of a cooler red. Keep mixing your colors to the consistency of the heavy cream. I know. It's because it's just that requires so much concentration. Okay, now we got some blue. I'm actually mixing some ultramarine blue and a little bit of cerulean blue. Now I'm taking this big old brush and I'm going to switch to the smaller brush so that I can indicate. I got to have a little bit of something to hold on to there. Now come in with the handle. 10 to 1, all the cups are going to look different too. See, I bet there's some Cézanne-esque
really
paintings going right now.
This is Cézanne over here in this corner.
Yeah. Frenchie, how are you doing? You doing good?
I'm surviving.
You're going to do great. You're doing fine. I'll be over there to check in just a minute. I want to get all the local color down here, and then I'm going to come around and see what you're doing. Okay, I'm going to mix the red. We've got a cadmium red. I'm mixing that with the yellow. I think we've even got a cadmium yellow here. And I want it to stand out enough from the red and the cone and the yellow and the bowl shape that we have here. And I think that does well. Now, I'm going to move on to the background, to the cloth. Now see, while you're painting these, you can decide what friend or family you would like to gift this to when all is said and done.
I won't dare to.
Art is such a personal, special gift. Everyone should be so happy to be the recipient of something given from the heart. That's exactly right. Which is, oh, I just love purple. This is really a little bit purple, more purple than I thought. But I will, I'll tone it down a little bit later. Now the cloth, just paint it in just like you did everything else. We're not going to think about folds. We're not going to think about anything. Because this is acrylic, we're not necessarily going to try to do the normal way of painting with acrylic, which would be sort of how you paint with oils, which would be dark to light. With acrylics, you can paint dark to light, light to dark. You can paint however you want to paint it. In an art party, you can truly paint it however you want to paint it. The whole idea is just to get yourself into a mode of creating something.
Painting on the easel is okay, right?
Painting on the easel is especially good because you'll go back to that same spot and add to it each time you put a canvas on the easel.
I've just expanded my canvas.
It's a good place too to check your color. Just put a swatch on the easel and see, or your dress or your apron,
whatever,
or your hand. I've been known to do that. Okay, got the cloth. Now, the background, the way background, is going to be a mixture of ultramarine blue and some burnt umber. See how carefully I'm keeping my palette just all the colors separate and not running into each other. Not. Just letting you know, it doesn't matter. Just want something nice and dark. Purple makes a wonderful dark. I say usually ultramarine blue and burnt umber is what I use for dark color. I have just gravitated to purple, but purple is one of my favorite colors, as all of my friends and family will tell you. So we're just going to paint this area really dark. This is the background. Use your larger brush for that. Okay, the local color on the piece is done. Now all we need to do is come in and add our shadows and our highlights, and then we're going to have us a little still life. And you'll see how very, very easy it is. Let me go around and take a look and see how everyone's doing.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Helga, it's wonderful. I love your bright red cone.
Beautiful.
Oh, you've done very well. And you've totally changed the shape of the mug, but I really kind of like that better because it just kind of lets all the aroma of what's inside come to one little area. Frenchie.
My cone looks like it's been made out of driftwood.
Your cone, it does. It looks like it's drifting in towards the other stuff. You know what I would suggest that might be very helpful is just to kind of straighten that cone out just a little bit more. Leave everything else the way it is, but just straighten the cone out so that you do kind of have a different.
I'm so used to do nature that I can't do it.
To doing nature. I know this is not natural in that regard. This is very true. Oh, I love the color of your background. You are so creative in so many ways. We went from purple to kind of like a dusty blue. Now we've got a little bit brighter blue. It looks like a wonderful ocean.
My cone's a little squatty.
But that's okay. Do you like it squatty? We can leave it squatty.
I do.
Okay. Well, okay. So now, Bridget, go ahead and do the really dark background. Miss Helga, you just take right off. You just paint that dark background.
Whatever I want.
Whatever. Well, yes. Whatever you want. It's an art party.
Okay.
You do take me to the ends of my limits with what you can do with art. You go right ahead.
Right.
But you know, that's what happens a lot with people who do not have a lot of experience with art, is they're more creative and they're open to more things. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. And it's such a pleasure to have you here. You give us a good scope to judge against everything else. All right, very good, very good. Y'all are doing wonderfully. I'm so pleased. As you're doing your background, which is not going to require a lot of thought, I'm going to go ahead and start putting in some shadows and the shapes. Now I'm taking my cadmium red and I'm pulling in a little bit of blue because I want a shadow color for the red. So just pulling in a little bit of blue. So if everybody wants to take a quick look at that, this is the color I'm going to use for the shadow and the cone. Okay, now the light is coming pretty much head on, just slightly to the right. And so what I'm going to do is just run that shadow paint down the edge. I'm not running it down to the very edge because you're going to always have a reflected light on your piece. And I'm going to take it all the way down to the bottom. And it's going to follow the shape of the cone, which means that even the shadow is going to get wider the closer it gets to the bottom of the cone. I'm going to pick up some more water because you want to keep that consistency of the heavy cream, and that's what allows the glide of the paint. And I'm going to come back on the other side because it's throwing a shadow on the other side as well. Also, I'm not painting to the very edge. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to put the shadow on the yellow, on the hemisphere. Now yellow, the opposite of yellow on the color wheel is blue. So if you bring a little blue into some yellow, then you're going to have, and I'm going to that purple again. That's because purple also works well as a dark or as a shadow enhancer, and it has a richer color actually. So, but I will go over here to the blue because that's what we're talking about. We don't really want the green, which is coming up right now, which is why I'm going to go back to purple and put a little bit of purple in there, and then that's going to give you the darker color or the shadow color, a shadow color for the yellow. Just dip back into your water anytime you need to get that consistency back to the heavy cream. So this is kind of the color I have. The shadows in yellows can be kind of strange sometimes. And my shadow, you've got a very strong shadow here inside the ellipse. So you want just a bit of that yellow on the lip of the ellipse to show. And the same kind of thing. The light is sort of coming in right here, so I'm going to have a shadow around the bottom of the bowl and around both sides. Same kind of thing. And if your brush starts to get a little dry, just dip it in some more water. The nice thing about acrylic is as it dries, it will sort of blend itself. It's beginning to look a little mottled, but that's okay. See what happens if I sort of take some of that out with my finger. Next best painting tool besides your brush are your fingers. And your hands will show. And of course you always want a paper towel or something so that you can wipe your brush off, get rid of the excess. Okay, so I've got the shadows in my yellow bowl. Now I'm going to move over to the little cube size, the box we've got going. And I want that to be a little bit, I wanted that to be cooler. So I'm going to take my red here and I'm going to go straight to the blue. And I'm going to make purple. The one time I could have actually dipped into the purple, I'm making purple. So it just doesn't matter. It's just whatever goes. How are we doing? How are you doing, Frenchie?
It's the first time I do still life.
This is your first still life? And I know this is Vicky's first still life.
I do nature, but not still life.
Helga?
And this is my first time with acrylic. So I'm
Okay. Oh, this is just so great. Oh, you're just going to be so pleased at what you have done. Okay. So once again, light's coming here, so that means we've got a dark area. If you remember when we worked on the basic shapes, and I'm sure if you were not here working with me that you saw the show about basic shapes, but when we've got light coming into this area, that means that this side of the cube is going to be darker. It's going to have the shadow. And it means that this side over here is going to be more shadow-sided, more in the shadow here, and the top is going to be darker underneath where the cup is sitting, because that's just how the light hits a square object like that. Once again, those fingers go in there. Feel free to use your fingers and just putz around and smooth the paint around. It really lets you get into the whole medium thing. Okay, now I'm going to progress onto the cup, which is, I mixed the cerulean and the ultramarine blue for the cup. And I'm going to bring a little bit of, let's put a little bit of burnt sienna in there and see if we can get a good dark, a good shadow. Let's see what happens there. And the cup, ooh, yeah. I'm going to restate the blue. Same thing. The shadow goes around the edges because you don't want the shadow, you have that reflected light. Okay. Now I'm going to come over here to our little tangerine and I'm going to take the orange that I created and I'm going to put a little bit of blue in there and then I'm going to paint my shadow color. Mixing colors is really a fun thing to do because once you learn what colors you can create by mixing, then you can really have fun with it. Now the acrylics do tend to dry a little faster. So if you've got them mixed up all over your palette, then you're going to have to really pull the water in to get it back to a painting consistency. All right, so I'm going to go now and let's just put some folds in this cloth. Give it a little life. I'm just throwing some darks in here. Okay, now because the light is so intense, what it's doing basically is creating a very, very dark delineation between the bottoms of all of the objects and the cloth. So I'm going to take my famous purple and I'm going to get it very thin and I'm just going to paint underneath the base of everything so that it'll ground it. Now, how are we doing? Are we still awake? Are we in shock? Are we worried? Are we happy? Are we looking forward to champagne at the end of the episode? Could be. Okay, that is the holdout. That's what the art party is all about. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to put the lights in my shapes. Background, we're not going to touch the background. We're not going to do anything with it. Take your red, your cadmium red. Your light is going to be white. So you're going to pull the white in. Makes a lovely pink. And then we're just going to, I'm going to make that a little bit darker. Add a little bit more cadmium. And I'm going to come in just like we did with the shadow. Thicker at the bottom, thinner at the top. Run it down. And then, here's that finger again. Just smudge it with the finger. Don't be afraid to get paint all over you. Okay. I'm going to go the same order I did before. We're going to take the yellow. I'm going to put some more white in the yellow. At this point, I'm getting different colors in every mixture of paint I'm doing. How about y'all? You do the same thing happening to y'all? It's amazing. Okay, now I'm having to pull some more yellow in here because it's actually kind of turning a little bit more green. So if you want to check your color, just check your color, make a dash of it on the paper, on the canvas. Now for this, I also want to restate the edge of that ellipse. No big deal. Ellipses, though, are what separate the amateurs from the professionals. And and that's very, very important for us. Now I'm going to come around on the edge of this ellipse and kind of restate that. I'm going to move it on down to the box. I'm going to pull a little bit of red into that. Now basically this was going to be a cooler box color. So I'm trying to keep the blue. The blue is part of it. Let's just see what happens. Nope. Even the professionals have to go back and double check. Oop, yep. Eventually you'll get it. So we're just going to kind of accentuate that highlight. Come to this edge here and do the same thing. Not working so well when I use my fingers sometimes. It depends on the drying, how dry the acrylic is. Okay, so I've got a little highlight there. I'm going to go back to the cup. I'm going to add some white to my blue, to my mixture of ultramarine blue and cerulean blue. And once again, it's going to follow the shape. Let's see if it works. Okay, and I'm going to put a little bit on the handle there, and it follows the shape of the cup. I've got the highlights, I've got the shadows, I have the shadow accents. Now I'm going to get a highlight for each thing, the highlight, the accent for the light. You're basically looking for something very, very close to white. Doesn't have to be white. And you put that where the light, where the sun does shine.
You did not say that. You did.
I did. I did, and it felt good. And I liked it, okay? So I'm going to go look around now and see how my students are doing.
Mine will really be my own.
Oh, come back. Quit running. Don't run out of the room. Stay where you are. Be proud. Be proud. All right, I'm going to come around and take a look at everybody's piece now. Oh, Helga, it's wonderful. This sort of looks like a banana, but I know it's not. That's what you were talking
I
about.
saw that
You
banana.
you banana-fied the little hemisphere
I
or the
did.
little bowl, but that's lovely.
I
The
did.
colors are great. This is wonderful right here. I love this right here. It's very soft. You're doing a wonderful job. Frenchie, let's see
Mine
how.
looks like it's
Oh
a
my
real
gosh, look at
aged
that.
mango.
It's very so jewel toned. The colors are really wonderful. This is a great exercise in color too. I love this. You did a wonderful job with your cone and the nuances of the subtlety of the values of how you make it the dark to the light red.
The dysfunctional part of the value.
No. It's wonderful. This is very interesting too. That almost looks like an eye. That's like, I know it's not, but you know, it's
Yeah,
just.
supposed to be the same color as this one.
But it works. It's lovely, and you've got your little box all decorated. And you know, I would say with your banana too, just a little bit, a little darker
Yeah.
within
yeah,
the
but
ellipse,
it's not
so that you
drying
can see
fast
that it's.
enough.
Acrylics are very tricky in that way. You have to just
I
blow
have a
on
blow
it.
dryer.
I know.
Unbananify that.
You can buy. We want some more yellow, like in this area here.
Okay.
And just put some more. Just put some more of the local color in there. And this right here needs to be a little darker. It needs to be very, very dark. Okay. And then that'll show that there's an emptiness, a vastness
There's
inside.
something other than
Yeah, it's not just a half-peeled banana or a rotten banana. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, we're kind
Definitely
of going off the scale on that, but
So dark
yeah,
right in here
just
where I've got that
yeah,
line.
very dark right in here because this is the edge of the ellipse, and right in here, just put more yellow so that it's a little bit more whole, a little bit more complete.
In here.
Very dark, yeah, because that's the inside of your lips, is what I'm assuming. Yes.
It may be.
Yeah, and take it all the way up because, you know, there you go. Yeah, and then, that's it. And then now take your yellow and then paint around because you want to keep your highlight there. So just paint your yellow around so that you can get the true color.
Not as ripe as yours, that's all.
It's all in good humor. It's all now, Miss Vicki.
Yes.
I must see. Oh my God!
I love the background.
I almost want to see that from behind you because that is lovely. This is just so. It looks like cotton candy. But I love that.
To the cone. It looks like a malfunction.
It's still a cone shape.
Christmas tree.
This is
Yeah.
about making something out of the basic shapes, and you have done that. You have excelled at that, and that's quite lovely. It's very girly, and I like your very bold lights in your cube, and your highlights in your cup, in your urn. Because it does look like there's a top to your urn. It does
there is a
indeed.
top to
It
my
does
urn,
indeed. Okay. So what I'd like for you to do is we want to put your name on your paintings. Feel free to go back to them and perfect them even farther or further when you get at home and you're relaxing and looking. I know this is the piece that you're going to want to pull out because there are people who are waiting in line to receive these lovely works of art. So
We do?
thank you so much for joining us. It's now time to break out the champagne, thus the art party. And
Great fun.
thank you for joining us. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers.
You got it. Sunset River Marketplace in coastal Calabash invites you to feed your eclectic soul in a warm, friendly environment where you'll find something for everyone. Art glass, painting, pottery, classes, home decor, demonstrations. It's a sensory experience.